If you've ever been thankful for an overtime goal because it means you get to go to bed finally, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is the Thursday, June 5th edition. We're going to break down some of the news. We're going to look at some of the earnings reports. We've got Broadcom earnings tonight. So another big earnings report here today. We're going to cover all of it, try and make some money here. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Thursday, June 5th starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here this morning. I hope that you all had a great Wednesday evening, and congrats to the Edmonton Oilers for getting that win. Thank you, Draisaitl, for scoring pretty early so that I could go to sleep. That was good. Nice to see a whole bunch of people back here. Chris, good morning. Very busy losing money this morning on Tesla and MCTR, and I tried to short NBIS. A very sad result. Chris, we got to turn that around, buddy. We got to turn that around. We got to start making some money. Good for you to be here. Hopefully you're have a better morning here pretty soon. Pete, good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Yassine, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back, my man. Jane, good morning. Paul, good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Jay, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Jay, yay Oilers. I just want to see some good games. We finally got one. The itch has been scratched. Kerching, do love that handle. Good morning, Kerching. Here, we'll just go with that early here. Dan, good morning. It's great to see you again. Cinderella, welcome back. Bernhard, welcome back. Terlingua, welcome back. Another day, more money. Good morning. Yes, love it. Absolutely love it. Brett, good morning. Producer, locked in. Thanks for the help here this morning because I was behind. Day trader, good morning, folks. Day trader did some work for the group here today, and we're going to share some of that here. We talked about making some watch lists for Bitcoin and Solana treasury companies so that we could track some of these stocks here. Day trader went and did that. I'll share it with you here in a sec. Thank you, Day Trader, for getting that done for us. I appreciate it. Big Bees, time to get that money. Happy Thursday. Indeed, Thursday quickly becoming one of my favorite days of the week. Rooster, good morning. It's great to see you again. Tom, good morning. Tom says, positivity is my policy. That is also my policy. So it's good to have you here, Tom. Thank you for fighting the good fight, as they say. JJ, welcome back. Hope you are well. Eric, welcome back. Good to see you. White Chocolate Mocha, Ed, Brandy, Booglog, good morning. 5, new here. Howdy. Welcome. Hopefully you enjoy yourself here. Good morning. Brandon, good morning. Nice to see you again. Wiss, we out here. Yes, sir, we are. DCL, welcome back. Wiss, who do you got for the Heritage Tournament? Let me know what you think. I didn't place any bets on it, but I'm excited to watch it. Okay, Hunter, good morning. Mohammed, good morning. Sean, how about that Ondas? And we're trading up here again. More opportunity to get gains booked. Absolutely love it. The drone stocks are moving. We can take a look at those too. Ryan, just an absolute killer name. Good morning. Having a week where I'm on the wrong side of everything. I hope that you're not on the right side of the name. That's for sure. We'll be able to turn that around, I'm sure. Just stick to it. Don't oversize yourself and don't try to make it all back in one foul swoop. That leads to revenge trading. And generally speaking, that doesn't go so well, at least for me. Nonetheless, good morning. Welcome back. Ari Stock Market, good morning. Joe, good morning. Bobcat, good morning. Harris, good morning. And Michael, good morning. It's great to see everyone. Let's go ahead and start it off here with the SPY. Go ahead and share some charts. We'll break down where we are at here. We continue to hold above the trend line. So again, trend line from the all-time highs to the recent high. We've snapped that. We've moved through. The one thing to note here is that we have had some pretty poor volume on the SPY. So it has been kind of almost like a melt up a little bit. Not huge volume. Maybe that'll change when we get a specific print or something like that. But not anything crazy here. So that's something to keep in mind. That being said, perhaps we can easily back test this trend line. And if it doesn't hold lower, we can go. So looking at some of the levels here today, I would really I'm going to keep it real simple so far. Of course, we have the 600 level that we're approaching. We've talked a lot about the 593 to 595 level, which we find ourselves above. But really what I'd like to do is I'd like to snap this 597.95. Let's call it 598. I'd like to move above that, see if we can challenge that 600 spot, see what happens at 600. I do think it's possible that if we peak above 600, we actually end up selling a little bit, especially if the volume remains low. I could just see traders going back and forth saying, you know what, that round number will sell a little bit there. So I just want to see how the price behaves here. And on the downside, it's really going to be the trend line, right? This 591. Now, if we fall back beneath 593, 595, that area, yeah, that's significant. We'll see where we close. I think if we close above that area, that's not so bad. Even if we test some of that intraday, I think a lot of that will depend on the news. If we look inside yesterday, we should not necessarily be expecting some huge movement. Looking inside here, even in the pre-market here, it looks like the low was about 596. I've got 595 and change, but let's call it 596. The top here was about 598. You were looking at like a 2-point range all day here in the SPY. So we'll see if we can find some good things to trade here. We'll definitely break down some of the movers. We did have some pretty positive earnings yesterday. Mongo database, ticker MDB. We're going to go over that. That having a huge move here. Option buyers won that print for sure. Maybe that bodes well for Broadcom here tonight. And then maybe a couple of days of positive earnings will lead to some good trading on Friday. We shall see. But this is pretty much what I got with the SPY. Really not a whole lot has changed here. It's good that we're staying in this area, but let's see if we can punch above 600 as the next level. Okay, let's go through some news real quick. I won't overload you with the news. We have no guest here this morning, so I'm not just going to blitzkrieg you with news here. We are going to cover some of it, and we'll take a look at charts. And then I also want some suggestions from charts from you folks here today. That's for sure. Neville, good morning. Gary, good morning. Sergeant Sexy, good morning. Michael, good morning if I didn't catch you. Mama Bear, welcome back. Good morning. Ryan, I can't talk golf. I shot the worst round of my life yesterday in the past 5 years. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I actually had one of my buddies who could consistently shoot 71, 72, 73 on a regular basis. Texted me a couple of weeks ago and said, I'm quitting golf. I shot in the 80s. I was like, first world problems. I shoot in the 80s all the time. Wiss, I am sure you're itching to get back out there. Good luck. I'm sure you'll be fine. Russ, good morning. Great to have you back. Alish, good morning. Circle IPO today. Indeed. Actually, should we start with that? Should we go for the morning update here today? Let's do the morning update here today. We do have some data going on. The initial jobless claims is going to come at 8:30. That should move the market. Well, we'll see which direction it moves it. As you can see here, market positive this morning. I know it's very, very near flat. So lots of green arrows here. Don't let it cloud the picture here. We are basically flat. Gold is up just shy of 1% here, GLD anyway. As far as the IPOs, thank you, Alish, for reminding us. Circle is going to IPO today. It was priced at 27 to 28. We'll see where that opens here today. That's definitely the big IPO of the day. This TGE is also IPOing, or it says that it is. Doesn't have a date. Looks like it was priced. I'm not sure if that's not going to be one people follow. It is going to be CRCL for that IPO here today. We don't know what time, but I'm sure we'll if it opens while we're on the show, I'm sure we'll take a look at it, as it should be pretty widely followed. Also worth noting here that we do have a couple of conferences that are going on here today, and there are actually quite a bit of stocks that are attached to them. So I just want to set the groundwork for that. I'm not sure what's going to happen from any of these conferences, or if they're going to result in outsized moves, but it's worth noting. So at least if we start to see that, maybe we can draw the correlation there. We do have an annual shareholder meeting here for INOD, which is a stock that we've traded a number of times. Actually, Anne-Marie and I and Tim just looked at this on the webinar from Tuesday evening. We'll see here if Anne-Marie has an updated trade. But INOD having its annual shareholder meeting here today, and Granite Point Mortgage doing the same thing. That's a $2 mortgage company here. Also, you've got the Jefferies 2025 Global Healthcare Conference. So we're going to see some of these stocks reporting some news out of there. The big one here, Mind Medicine. I know our group has traded this. stock here before, or at least mentioned it quite a bit here. They're going to be at that presentation. Also, the William Blair 45th Annual Growth Stock Conference. That's today. A bunch of names in here like Yeti, 5.9. There's a couple other that I write. TEM, Tempest, which is one that we have traded quite a bit recently. So William Blair Annual Growth Stock Conference, that's going on, as well as the Maxim Group 2025 Virtual Tech Conference. INOD again making an appearance there. So keep your eyes on INOD. As far as some of the initiations here, PVH, they got an outperform rating here. They actually reported earnings. They traded down on earnings, down here by about 9%, cited tariff uncertainty as one of the reasons for that. Getting an outperform rating here today. Five Below also reported earnings last night. They've got a market perform here from Telsey. They're holding higher here by about 7%, a little bit more than that. IMUX, this is a penny stock. This at one point, I believe, in its history, got like a $71 price target. LOL. Anyway, DeBoral Capital giving it a $10 price target here and a buy rating. Stock is 80 cents here this morning, despite being up almost 6%. Dr. Reddy. This is another one that we've talked about a number of times on the Happy Hour show. Possible compounding angle here for the GLP-1 trade. They actually got a buy from HSBC with a $16 price target. That stock's hovering here at about 15, so it's almost at the price target. Dollar Tree, which we just talked about, they got market perform from Telsey Advisory. They're up 2% after the flat earnings or disappointing earnings when compared to Dollar General. Marvell, this is another one that you folks mentioned quite a bit here as one of the semiconductor trades. This is up almost 1% here. This got a buy from China Renaissance analyst firm, $110 price target on that. And then Donkey Kong, DraftKings, market outperformed. So someone was just asking me about gambling stocks with the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs going on. I'm not sure how well they trade around those events. They almost feel like sell the news events, but nonetheless here, market outperformed from JMP Securities with a $50 price target. DraftKings here hovering at about $34.86. No downgrades here. We did have the Dr. Reddy upgrade. And then earnings for the day here. Had a couple. CN, we talked about Broadcom. That's going to be the big one. Victoria's Secret. Lululemon, that's the other big one. Rubrik, RBRK, that's going to be that cybersecurity play. DocuSign is in there. We talked about Broadcom. And then IoT, that's the other one that I wanted to mention. The Internet of Things, that is Samsara. They're also reporting here after the close. So we do have plenty of earnings here today. This is actually the big earnings day. I have no position on Lululemon, by the way. That's the one I'm really interested in. We can take a look at any of those if you folks want to set up trades for that. But as of right now, no earnings plays here for the day. We're going to try and keep it liquid throughout the day. Okay, let me go back to the chart here. Here's the SPY. Let's go ahead and roll through some news real quick. Then we'll get back to the charts and set up some trades here. Let me see. Circle settled at 31. Thank you, Brandy. Okay, a Circle at 31. So that's above the range. That should get cracking here today. MCTR, I know that was a huge one from yesterday that got even huger here today. Let me add that to the list. Yeah, that's right. I'm playing tomorrow morning. Yeah, you're going to get back out there and you're going to go ape. APLD, I'll add that one to the list here because that's really been moving. Applied Digital. Good recommendation from Story Trading on Course. Tell you what, I like those Story Trading guys. I like all three of them. I think they're good guys. So it's nice to see good folks win in this industry. I'll take that. We'll add Cores to the list here too. I'm sure we'll look at CoreWeave, so I won't even put it on there. Okay, let's go ahead and roll through some of the news here real quick. Start here with the ADP dimmer. So U.S. stocks likely to open on a mixed note, although it looks like we're holding positive here now across the board. Indeed, but again, not very much, very, very near flat. Anyway, after the Dow snaps a 4-day run, Powell and the Fed are doing the right thing, holding rates, says expert. Just wait until you see who that expert is. That should be fun. The tepid move followed the ADP data showing that the private payroll additions tumbled in May as weak consumer sentiment and trade policy uncertainty weighed on hiring. Quote, this is from Trump here, ADP numbers out, too late, Powell must now lower the rate. He is unbelievable with 3 exclamation points. Europe has lowered 9 times for you Ferris Bueller fans out there. Looks like Trump doing some more early morning, late night tweeting here, or truth social posting. I don't even know what I'm supposed to call it. Let me get down to the analyst insights on this. Ross Gerber from Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management, backed the Federal Reserve's choice to maintain interest rates while strongly condemning President Trump's trade and tariff strategies, as well as fiscal expansion fueling inflation. No surprise there. Ross has hated this guy probably for his entire life. In a Wednesday post on X, Gerber stated that Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell was, quote, doing the right thing, end quote, by keeping interest rates unchanged, awaiting a clearer picture of the Trump tariff effects. Gerber contends that Trump desires lower rates. He should steer clear of inflation-driving policies like the inflationary tariff approach and the one big beautiful bill. Of course, Elon Musk has made more noise tweeting about his disdain for the bill. So there seems to be some back and forth there. I think we had news that Speaker Johnson was going to contact him. I don't know what that's going to do, but that news is floating out there. That bill, which will likely increase the fiscal deficit and national debt. The GOP bill, which narrowly passed the House in May, includes significant tax cuts paired with heightened spending on defense, manufacturing, and infrastructure. Quote, if Trump wants lower rates, then he should stop working on creating inflation through vast amounts of money printing, he said. Now, Louis Navellier of Navellier & Associates said that tariff negotiations with China were hitting an impasse. Thus, he added a call between President Xi and President Trump may be imminent. This is something that we've been watching for a couple of days. Been talking to the connection that we have in Asia. He's uncertain about that right now. So we'll see how that shakes out here. Contrary to Gerber's view, Navellier said that the Fed has said inflation is its main priority, but a weak payroll report could cause the Fed to key interest rates sooner rather than later. We'll see. Louis Navellier has been doing this a long time. Meanwhile, Adam Turnquist, who we've been quoting recently, the chief technical strategist at LPL Financial, hinted in his technical analysis that it was, quote, easier to digest, end quote, the NASDAQ 100's index premium valuation given the growth optimism for 25 and 26. Remember, that comes on the back of the entire AI angle, which we've been covering pretty ferociously here. A jump in expected operating margins from 18% in 2024 to 23.8% in 25 and 25.6% in 26 makes the premium valuation easier to digest along with the AI-themed tailwinds. From a technical perspective, Turnquist suggests that the index's momentum remains bullish after the recent reset from overbought levels. The NASDAQ 100 has rallied out of a bear market in less than 2 months. And I think the question here is, well, what's next, right? Are we going to re-challenge any of those lows, or are we actually in the clear? And I think that that's really what's kind of, that divergence is really what's kind of driving this back and forth. Now, let's talk a little bit about, that was all the macro politically tied news that I had for you here today. We're already done. It's not even 8:20. That's good stuff. The next story that I have here is going to be on CrowdStrike and Microsoft partnering to create the, quote, Rosetta Stone. But I want to start first with the CrowdStrike chart. Of course, they just recently reported earnings. We did a lot of setting up trades with this. We did a lot of talk about this in the happy hour. I'm sure we did a lot of talk about this here. I'm sure that this stock has a huge following. And then also this is in the cybersecurity theme that I'm still very bullish on for 2025. Here's what we're looking at on CrowdStrike. First of all, the trend, we have two trend lines on here, and it actually, depending on how zoomed in you are, it actually looks like a parallel channel, but it's not that. We actually just drew trend lines connecting some of these highs. And as you can see, the recent reversal off of the Liberation Day lows to the top of the trend line happened pretty quick. And this earnings report, we sold off from it and then held here at the 20. So as far as a new trade here, just taking the chart into account, I think as long as we can hold this 20, as you see here in the past, when we started to trade up and we rolled over and held the 20, it continued to resolve higher. I have no reason to suspect otherwise. So I'm going to be looking for the same thing here. If we can hold this 20, we probably test this trend line again. And it's possible, if we have some good news, that we actually punch through the trend line. Conversely, and this is one of the things the happy hour group discussed, if we lose this 20-day, I think it is a safe bet that we trade down to the 50-day. That value is at 411.38. So I would imagine that's your next spot down. And if we look in the past year, we talked about this a little bit. The 50-day has been very important for CrowdStrike. If it holds it, it likes to make a run off of it. When it tests it, it will consolidate. And if it breaks down, your next stop might be the 200-day. So let's take a look at that. That value, 356.75. So if we break down to the 50 and then we lose the 50, perhaps 356 is going to be on deck here. Let me know. I know there's bullish and there are mostly bullish people here on CrowdStrike, but let me know if any of you are actually looking to set up a new trade here. Would you rather this pullback? Would you rather just kind of give you a more bullish signal? You let me know. I'm curious to see what the group says. Ideally, maybe a couple of days down here at the 20-day. Maybe today's not the best day for it, but maybe if we kind of chop around this 20-day for a couple of days, we can actually reset this RSI a little bit more and then make a strong move, maybe even through that trend line. So this is what I'm thinking based on the chart. Let's take a look at some of the news and see how that might impact the calculus. CrowdStrike and Microsoft partnered to create the, quote, Rosetta Stone to help defenders in knowing the adversary amid rising AI agent deployment. This sounds like a Terminator headline, to be quite honest with you. CrowdStrike and Microsoft announced a strategic collaboration on Tuesday that maps adversary naming conventions between both platforms, creating what CEO George Kurtz called a Rosetta Stone for cyber defenders worldwide. The partnership addresses a critical gap in threat intelligence by unifying how both companies identify and track cyber adversaries, enabling joint customers to better defend against attacks regardless of which nomenclature system they encounter. Seems like a bunch of buzzwords, doesn't it? Quote, through this Rosetta Stone collaboration, we unite defenders in knowing the adversary, end quote. Kurt said during CrowdStrike's first quarter earnings call, quote, together we make the guesswork out of adversary attribution for the benefit of our joint customers and the entire market, end quote. Sorry, I'm bowling you over with industry terms, jargon, and buzzwords, but that's what's going on here. Every AI agent represents a unique superhuman identity necessitating visibility, control, and protection. AI agents dramatically increase the size, severity, and speed of the enterprise attack surface. Now, CrowdStrike reported strong first quarter results with $1.1 billion in total revenue, up 20% year over year, and $194 million in new annual recurring revenue. The company's Falcon Flex subscription model generated $3.2 billion in a total deal value across 820 plus accounts. CFO Bert Podbear, hope I pronounced his name correctly, disclosed regulatory scrutiny stating that the company received Department of Justice and SEC information requests regarding revenue recognition and reporting of ARR for certain transactions, the July 19th, 2024 outage, and related matters. So it still looks like they're doing some cleanup here on that outage and everything that took place. Looks like they're really doing their due diligence on it. So far, CrowdStrike has been extremely resilient. In fact, that outage on July 19th last year actually provided an excellent buying opportunity for CrowdStrike. Part of me is wondering if this earnings move down to the 20, as we just took a look at on the chart. Part of me is wondering if this is also a good buying opportunity. You can see here Benzinga Edge rankings, the trends, they're all popping. Short, medium, and long term are popping. High momentum rating, a decent growth rating. So we'll see here where CrowdStrike grows. ATL Russ, in crowd, I'm bullish. Okay, so you're in it right now. Looks like you're, I think that you did a good job buying it at that 20 support. I would imagine we probably test the high end of the range. We'll see. Sean, still looking for the happy hour show. The happy hour show is there's a little banner that pops up in Benzinga Pro. The only way to get into the happy hour show is having Benzinga Pro. If you can shoot me an email, I can actually give you like some screenshots and stuff. Or I could just email you the registration link. Let me just give you my email. You can reach out to me directly and I can help you with that. That much I promise. Okay. So that's what's going on. CrowdStrike and Microsoft. Thank you, Russ, for answering the question there. You are bullish. I, too, am bullish. I know Amanda's been very bullish on this. Let me know what the rest of you feel like on this one. Okay, next we're going to talk about Amazon, and I'll go to the chart after this. Just kind of want to roll through this a little bit. Amazon expands cloud and its AI footprint with a $10 billion data center investment in North Carolina. Amazon announced plans to invest that $10 billion in North Carolina data center infrastructure to support artificial intelligence and cloud computing technologies. This is one of the largest investments in the state's history. That's cool. The Richmond County deployment will create at least 500 high-skilled positions, including data center engineers, network specialists, and security experts. The investment supports thousands of additional jobs in the Amazon Web Services supply chain as generative AI drives increased demand for advanced cloud infrastructure. Quote, Amazon's investment is among the largest in state history and will bring hundreds of good-paying jobs and an economic boost to Richmond County. That comes from North Carolina Governor Josh Stein. Since 2010, Amazon has invested $12 billion in North Carolina, contributing $13.1 billion to the state's GDP, while supporting 24,000 full and part-time jobs, plus 26,000 indirect positions across various facilities. The expansion strengthens Amazon's AI capabilities as the company launches a new agentic AI group with its Lab 126 division. Bank of America securities analyst recently raised Amazon's price target from $230 to $248, citing strengthened competitive positioning through AI and robotics investment. It's interesting, too, because we haven't seen a whole lot on the robotics angle. We've actually spent a lot of our time on the robotics angle talking about Tesla and what that could mean. Amazon also primed to do that. That would be interesting, especially if we start getting some more prominent headlines about that. The company established Richmond County's community fund with $150,000 for grants and $10,000 supporting STEM education, workforce development, and economic initiatives. Let's go to the chart here. Amazon, by the way, as far as our proprietary rankings here, Amazon, one of the better stocks just across the board. Short, medium, and long-term trends, all positive. 70 score on the momentum. I know we like to look generally at 90 plus for some of the trades that we're doing. This is still a very respectable momentum score. And then on top of that, 97 on the growth score, 69 on the quality, and 49 on the value. Just Amazon absolutely killing it. I know we had some day trades here on Amazon yesterday. That's sweet. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more today. Let's take a look at the chart and see if we can make some sense of that. Here you go. I actually really like this formation. It's not like an even double bottom, but it's kind of a double bottom. We tested on Liberation Day. We tested the 500 day. This is great too, because this actually represented a pretty substantial reset from the 242 high that we had as we traded down here to 162, almost 100 points on just an absolute gigantic company. We back tested that level, held it, kept moving up, and then systematically took out some of these moving averages, which is great to see. You know, remember at the beginning of the week, we quoted Turnquist about saying that some of the technical indicators that we're seeing here really kind of show that the rally's real and not just a head fake snapback from the moves lower. And if you look at some of the individual names that behave like this, it's hard for me to disagree with that. Some really good constructive moves taking out some of these moving averages. We took out the 50. We then gapped above the 200. And this is what I like the most. When we gapped strong above that 200, we came back in to test it and we held it. Now, if we zoom in a little bit more so that it's easier to see, you see we're trying to push away from that. We just recently cleared the 100-day. Let's see if we can push above this 210 level. Seems to be pretty sticky. If we zoom out here and we go back to about the fall of last year, you'll notice that we are right above that volume point of control, 203. Remember, we spent a lot of time talking about the 200 level as Jeff Bezos was selling stock hand over fist at that level. Now that we've broken above it, that should act as extremely strong support. The chart's kind of showing you that. The volume point of control is showing you that. Let's see if we can push higher from here. 210 break would be very bullish here for Amazon. I'm curious to know what Izzy thinks about this one, just because he trades it so often. He's got such a good feel for it. So we'll hope to ask him when he shows up. All right. This Moj saying, let's all support Ryan by pushing the like button. I'm here to remind, this is true, and thank you, This Moj, for doing that. Please hit like, and if you haven't subscribed or if you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you can continue to join us. The other thing that you're doing by hitting the like button as a reminder is you're supporting the entire effort of what this group is doing. So even though 13 isn't here, you're still supporting him. And then you're also supporting what we're trying to do here by just raising the tide for everybody that joins the chat. So the more you can help support our channel, the better it's going to be for everyone, not just me. Now we should have the jobless claims here in 5 seconds. I do see the market kind of responding to that. Looks like it's ticking down here. S&P futures, we told you it was just about flat. It was positive. Now it's moved to negative 1/10 here. Let's see if that print is out. Oh, let me get rid of this real quick. Let's go to my news page here. There we go. U.S. initial jobless claims, 247,000 versus the 236,000 estimate. The prior read was 239K. That was revised down slightly from 240K. So more jobless claims there than the estimate. Trade balance here, minus 61.6 billion to minus 67.6 billion. Sorry about that. The prior read was minus 138. Non-farm productivity for Q1, 1.5% versus the 0.8 loss that was estimated. The prior read there was minus 1.7, so that number's a little hot here too. Market initially trading down, but trying to bounce off the standard deviation from the VWAP. So it looks like just kind of a little pull there. Let me go back to the chart. Doesn't really look like it definitely moved the market, but it doesn't really look like it's going crazy. Here's what your SPY chart looks like intraday. We're basically holding the lows of the pre-market session here, and we haven't yet breached the lows from the after hours yesterday. We tested it and held it, but we haven't breached it yet. Excuse me. Thank you, Rahman. I appreciate that. I don't have a guest here, and I wanted to make sure that we spent a lot of time on charts, so I wasn't just bowling you over with news. 3D, good morning. Great to see you. Thank you for the support. Please indeed smash the like. Neville, you wanted to add Uber to the list. Let me go ahead and do that. We talked about Uber yesterday with Tim Melvin. I can't believe that those trades worked right away, but Tim Melvin is a G. Zach saying it's the matcha. Zach, I've taken one sip of the matcha tea. It's actually the coffee, which I'm 2 cups deep on. But that matcha is so good. Okay, S&P futures here. I was trying to let them stall and settle a little bit. They're really not moving a whole lot. S&P futures here down by 0.06% here this morning. So trading a little bit lower on that jobless claims print, but nothing crazy here, at least so far. Okay. So we talked about Amazon. I think that's probably it for the chart. Let me just make sure because I changed tracks pretty quickly there. Yeah, it's the spot for me here today is 210 on Amazon. We'll see if we can get above that. If this pulls and holds, maybe the dip buy that's really been working for Izzy will work for the rest of us. The market would probably have to cooperate with that too. Jay Washington wants to know about HIMS. Let me add that to the list. We can absolutely take a look at HIMS. That's been another popular stock around here. Okay, excuse me. Now, this next story, this is going to be a little fun. I was really excited to see this one on the list here today because this is a new issue. And this also has some, let's call it nostalgia about it. Ticker's going to be BBW. Build-A-Bear Workshop. You guys might be saying, I can't believe Ryan's about to talk about Build-A-Bear. Let's do it, though. We had a huge pop higher here to 55. You see, we've actually created a gap. Now we're coming back into the gap. We'll see if we fill this gap down here. That's going to be at about $43. Current price here is at 46. What's going on? Let's take a look. Build-A-Bear beats big tech. Plush toy retailers outpace NVIDIA, Apple with over 1,600% returns in 5 years. You guys are also mentioning ZENA. That's a drone play. I think that's on the movers list this morning. So we'll definitely take a look at ZENA. I'll add it to the list there just to make sure that doesn't slip through the cracks here. But let me keep going with Build-A-Bear here because, again, this was my favorite story of the morning here. I promise I won't spend too much time on it. Well, investors stayed fixated on artificial intelligence and mega-cap tech giants leading the charge over the past 5 years. A quiet outperformer has emerged. A small-cap retailer selling plush toys and kids' accessories that has outpaced them all. I'm going to pause right here, and this is going to be a big-time shout-out to former Benzinga staple Aaron Bree, who loved Build-A-Bear, talked about this all the time. I haven't checked with him, so take this for a grain of salt, or take this with a grain of salt, but I believe he was bullish on this the last time he talked about it. And here we go, Build-A-Bear really outperforming. On Wednesday, the founder of AI platform Barely.ai, Trung Fan, who, by the way, this is an awesome account to follow on X. I follow this account. I have been doing it for a long time. He tweets about stock and finance stuff, but he also tweets about just regular stuff. He's hilarious. He's got great, did you know facts? Just a great account to follow. Awesome to see this make the news here. Really, really happy about this. Anyway, Trung Fan highlighted the performance in the next post. The stock in question is Build-A-Bear, which is known for make-your-own stuffed animal stores. Does anyone have one of these by chance? I don't have stuffed animals. I haven't even bought a stuffed animal as a gift for somebody. So, but let me know. Let me know if anyone actually has these, if they're cool, whatever. I saw a really cute video of a dog carrying its emotional support stuffy around yesterday. That was adorable. Anyway, a shift in the company's business model has sent its shares soaring by 1,648.48% over the past 5 years. With NVIDIA, I had to read this twice just to make sure that this was correct. With NVIDIA being a distant second, with performance of 1,491%. A distant second. This performance is insane. How many people had insane profits in NVIDIA over the last 5 years? I know that there are some people, especially younger folk, I've actually heard a number of these stories where younger folk have told their parents, hey, you really should buy NVIDIA and kind of hold it for a little bit. Well, that was a great suggestion. Turns out it wasn't even the best one. Build-A-Bear. Makes me laugh. Followed by Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet coming in at 144, 147, and 135, respectively. I love the tweet. Big tech this, big tech that. Big fluffy animal plush toys was hugely outperformed NVIDIA. Every time I say it, it gets funnier and funnier here. In a post, Fan notes the dramatic performance gap between the stocks despite the broader frenzy surrounding AI and digital transformation during this period. A few comments on Fan's post credit Build-A-Bear's rise in its shift to a shift in strategy, according to Bryant Solentrop. Brian, I hope I got your name right, man, who runs a staffing agency. The company's pivot from marketing primarily to children towards nostalgic adults with disposable income and access to a credit card played a key role in the stock surge. Well, you don't say. Yeah, you don't say. Also, by the way, this is an amazing example of why, without a doubt, like not even close, X is the most beneficial social media app out there. It does it the best, and it allows people that might not know each other or might not be connected to collaborate on things. This little exchange was awesome. They realized selling to adults is much better than selling to kids. Was that the legit strategy? And actually, if you click on the tweet, let me actually give you the article here. If you guys are interested in this, you can do it on your own. But if you click on this, this is the CEO basically dressing it up and saying, yeah, we realized if we wanted to grow the business, we got to sell to the people with money. That's the TLDR. And it's just like, well, yeah, that should have been obvious. You're trying to do it with plush toys here, so you got to be a little creative there. It's working swimmingly. It looks like they 2x sales in 5 years from 250 million to 500 million. Pretty good. It's also a trend if you look across other successful kids brands like Pokemon cards and Legos. Now, somebody asked us about Roblox. I think it was yesterday. And I think 13 was talking about, Robux and all of that. It'll be interesting to see how many more companies end up doing this. How many more companies maybe shift their advertising and their marketing department to go after the credit card holder as opposed to the end user of the product. Analysts continue to maintain a bullish outlook on Build-A-Bear, with 6 out of 7 being bullish and 1 somewhat bullish, with an average consensus price of $54.14 or a 17.2% upside from the current levels. Despite substantial tariff-related headwinds, the company stuck to its sales outlook for the full year, projecting growth in mid-single-digit rate compared to the previous year. Just wild stuff. And I will say, I think one of the reasons why I like this the most is just because I'm not familiar with Build-A-Bear. I don't use the product. Like I said, I don't really buy stuffed animals. So I'd like to turn this over to you. What do you think about the stock? What do you think about the stock? N says Build-A-Bear has to be a mafia front. Those stores are not even usually busy. This is interesting, and I've actually never been into a brick and mortar store. That's interesting, though. Pete saying, my young niece has one. They're really well done. Had no idea about the stock. You know what? Then this was successful picking the story anyway here today, because the more you know. That's awesome. My niece has one. They're really well done. Does your niece love them? I would assume so based on this comment, but just to make sure. How do you retire from building bears? Is there a joke there? How do you retire from building bears? I guess you could become a Green Bay Packer. But okay, I'll show myself out on that one. Ryan, I'm looking at gift this morning. Possible we get an opinion. I don't even know what gift is. If I pull this up and it is a penny stock, I'm going to be upset. It is $1.96. You're safe. Yes, I will add gift to the list. It looks like it is gapping up here today. I don't know why, so we'll break that down together. Yes, we can do that. Okay. Let's see, what else do we got here? No buy. It's an okay. So mom plus 5 saying no buy. It's an overpriced toy. It cost me $800 for my 5 girls bears. Oh my God. So you're buying I'm assuming what you mean here is that you're buying a bear for each girl. So 5 bears, and it's $800 total. That does seem expensive. That does seem, I love your comment here. APLD for me. Well, I'll tell you what, you might as well trade some of those AI names and try and make some money if you're going to keep buying those bears. You know, one of the things that I do just mentally, it's just kind of a silly thing. One of the reasons I really like trading Chewy is because when I make money off of Chewy, I think to myself, well, you're going to send money back to the company anyway. So you might as well make money off of the company, and then who cares? Plus the cat and the bird are happy with the stuff from Chewy. So maybe that would work here with Build-A-Bear. Invest in Build-A-Bear long-term or trade it really well, and then maybe more bears for the girls. Nonetheless, though, that's good stuff. Good insight there. This is, like I said, this is funny. This to me is funny. But she's buying them, right? Seems bullish. I need that little meme where the guy points to his head here. Indeed. And maybe that's why the stock has been such a great performer recently. All jokes aside, though, for a trade here, especially for me, Pete, I'm like you. I heard about the stock. I've maybe looked at it a few times, never really took it seriously. Shame on me. For a new trade here, what I'd like to see is maybe let's close this gap. Honestly, like in a perfect world, we would close the gap down here, 43.5. That would also bring us down near the 20-day moving average. Depending on how long it takes, it might actually print that level as well. Let's fill this gap and then bounce from here. That range would actually be pretty sick too, right? You're looking at 43 as the support, assuming that does hold. Your high here was what, 55 and change? So a 12-point range back up to the top. I think that might be done pretty well or pretty quickly here. You can see that the RSI is coming back in, so we might have some time on this one. I'll definitely keep watching this. Appreciate you folks kind of going along here with the tongue-in-cheekness of the story there. James saying, yep, that's the way I look at Chewy too. I can't help it. I wish more people looked at it like this and would just buy and hold it. It'd be easier to hold it. Okay. What time is this? It's what, 8:43. We're good. We're going to have 13 here in a sec. Let's take a look really quick at, okay. I did want to go through this story because this is one that we hadn't really talked about. And I have 2 stocks that play off of this story. So let me roll through the news here real quick. And then we'll go take a look at those stocks, and then we'll go through the list of stocks that you folks want to take a look at here today. U.S. auto suppliers urge immediate action to tackle China's rare earth restrictions amid serious real-time risks. This was one of the big factors that Tim Melvin believes is being overlooked when it comes to the China versus U.S. leverage debate. His belief is that China has such control over these rare, he's not wrong, but his belief is that China has such control over these rare earths that it actually gives them more leverage than we think. Well, I can see it. I'm not sure that I'm fully there, but I see exactly where he's coming from, and he's not wrong with the information he's basing that opinion off of. The U.S. Vehicle Suppliers Association has called for immediate measures to address China's limited rare earth exports, warning of potential disruptions in the auto parts production. The Motor and Equipment Manufacturer Association, or MEMA, issued a statement on Wednesday urging prompt action to resolve the issue of China's restricted imports of rare earths, minerals, and magnets. The association warned that the situation could quickly disrupt the production of auto parts. That came from Reuters. China, which dominates more than 90% of the world's rare earth processing capacity, imposed export restrictions in April, mandating that companies secure licenses from Beijing. The measures came in response to the trade war that began when President Trump introduced the tariffs on Chinese goods. The MEMA, in a statement, highlighted the, quote, serious real-time risks, end quote, faced by parts companies due to the unresolved situation. The association stressed the immediate need for strong action to avoid major disruptions and economic consequences throughout the vehicle supplier industry. The report states that the U.S. auto industry is already experiencing the effects of these restrictions. In May, Ford was forced to suspend production of its Explorer SUV at its Chicago plant for a week due to a shortage in rare earth minerals. Now, that's actually started back up since then. The restrictions on rare earth magnets from China have been a cause for concern for global automakers, potentially leading to factory closures within weeks. During early May, auto suppliers and trade groups representing the major automakers, including GM, Toyota, Volkswagen, and Hyundai, warned Chinese restrictions on key materials could seriously disrupt the production of essential automotive components. Jim Cramer, renowned CNBC host, also raised concerns about China's tightening gap on the rare earth supply chain, which poses a critical risk to U.S. industries. That being said, industry experts believe the U.S. has multiple options to establish a domestic supply chain for rare earths within the next 5 years. This is the key point. You're not going to be able to do this overnight. I know there are a lot of you folks that have been kind of talking about how it's you can't do some of this moving really quickly. That is absolutely the case here with the rare earths, but they warn that the process is fraught with challenges, as I was trying to explain. Now, this story is important. Put this one on the back burner. What stocks do we trade off of this story? I got two of them for you. First one here is going to be ticker MP, Mary Papa. This is going to be MP Materials. And well, hello there. Look at what this is doing. We actually took a look at this a few times. This is snapping the downtrend. The price traded down, and I don't think the price traded down from the recent high here of just shy of $30. We actually kind of consolidated around that 200-day, but also in the process tested the 500-day. We held it. We've now reversed through the trend line, so we've reversed that downtrend, and we've taken out moving averages on the way up, the 20, the 50, and the 100, which we're basically kind of pushed together here, at about 23 and a half. Ripped through both of them. Yesterday was a huge day, 11.7% here with MP. And you can see we're actually above this $24 level. This going all the way back to last fall was a volume point of control. Next resistance level up here, I got to think is going to be about $27. I would say 27 to 28 would be some significant resistance. That's about 2 to 3 points away from where we're at. And then we have the recent high here of 29 and change. Let me get you that exact value. 29.72 is that recent high. So MP Materials, this is definitely one to watch. It's moving on the back of some of this already. You can see we're not quite at overbought territory, but we're getting close. The other one that I have for you here is going to be USAR. This is USA Rare Earths. And I can't remember. Let me see. I can't remember if this is a SPAC or not. Someone's going to have to fact check me on that one. I don't know for sure, so I don't want to say for sure here. But nonetheless, USAR is going to be one of those tickers here. You can actually see that this too has started to kind of turn around. We're going to go ahead and add one of our fancy dancy, that's not a saying, but whatever. We're going to go ahead and add one of those trend lines. And what the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? S&P futures ripping to the highs on something. Sorry, I'm caught off guard by this, but we're going to figure it out. Here's a look at your S&P chart. Boy, that went right to 600. I actually have 6016 on the high print there. I see you guys asking if this is a real candle. Bro, I am as confused as you. Let's see. Did we have anything? U.S. imports? I don't see anything out here. Excuse me. Headline here: Xi and Trump to hold phone talks. And that comes from Chinese state media, not from the U.S. Interesting news out somewhere. That's what it is. China and Xi, Trump to hold call. Again, that comes from the Chinese media. Okay, there you excuse me. There you go. Big pop there. Couldn't quite get over 600. 599.73 is going to be your high print there on the SPY move higher. So, okay, this is perfect timing. I was just finishing with the U.S. rare earth. Again, those tickers MP and USAR, Mary Papa and Uniform Uniform Sierra Alpha Romeo. Those are your tickers for that rare earth trade. Now, let's go ahead, not waste any more time, and bring on 13. 13, how you doing this morning, my man?
Good morning. How's everybody? How are you? I'm doing fine.
Yeah, I'm doing great, dude. I am loaded up on coffee, and as an astute observer noticed, I've moved on to the matcha tea. So I'm doing real good here today. Just had a huge pop there in the pre-market. Where do you want to start? You want to go through some of the movers?
Yeah, the movers list isn't very big. There's only a couple that were really interesting, and some others that we've already seen run and are continuing to do so. Let's just go through those real quick, because this other news that we got might be interesting enough to just focus on that compared to the movers.
Okay. Cinderella saying, is this good? Break it down for us, please. Yes, it's good. To break it down as simple as possible, market move up, profit and dollars move up too.
I think she's referring to, with the whole Trump and Xi meeting. It's one of those headlines that we've been waiting for. It's something that has created a lot of uncertainty, but now that we have some certainty there, it's allowing the market to move higher. So reducing that amount of uncertainty is why we're getting this movement.
Okay. Lion is not buying it. Sell it.
I'm not either.
Sell it. Sell it. Sell the rip. Okay, let's go ahead and roll through those movers. I do actually have a list of a number of stocks that folks wanted to take a look at. Some of them might actually appear on the movers list. So let's just go ahead and do that here real quick. Let me get to my workspace that I've designed to do this. And we're going to start here with, I'm just going to roll down the list here, 13. And you I'm sure there's some that you covered, some that you haven't. We can spend more time on the ones that you did. Two of the stocks that folks wanted to take a look at are literally stock 2 and 3 on this list. So we're going to be in really good shape here. First one is going to be LIMN. And let me actually reset this chart so it looks more normal. This is Liminatus Pharma. Shares are trading higher after the company announced it had regained NASDAQ compliance. So there you go. That is our NASDAQ theme, the NASDAQ recompliance theme. And we've seen a lot of these stocks actually trade off of this. Well, here we go. This stock was about $10 yesterday, and it traded as high as $38.54 here today. Yikes. Let's take a quick look around the horn here. Short interest, I have no read in terms of its float. I do have a total of 9,550 shares held short. So not a whole lot here at all. Again, no float reading. I'll check the float when I turn this over to 13. On average, the stock trades 102,000 shares per day. Today, we've traded 1.6 million. 13, what do you think on this one? Did you cover this one? And I'll check the float for you.
Float I found to be 12.95 million. This is regained NASDAQ compliance yesterday, and it went on a run yesterday. But today we are experiencing this movement in the form of relative volume. So we did have a big change in the way it normally trades, which hasn't been very long, being that this is, from what I understand, a recent SPAC merger. So this company not off to a great start after this merger, already having to regain NASDAQ compliance just a month or two after it merged. So not off to a good start. Company still looks like they need cash unless we have an upcoming quarter that's going to reveal something that I don't see. Looking at the chart here, after we had that nice move into the after hours, all the way up to 38.89. Have not been back up there since, although we have made multiple attempts to recapture 30 by breaking through the VWAP and the after hours and the pre-market. So that's going to be one of the big things to watch for going into the open here, is whether or not this can actually get above and hold above VWAP. There's also going to be some resistance areas at about $28 to $29 based on where this the price was trying to move higher after these VWAP breaks. But we could also draw a trend line here and just watch for that to break as well. I'd start with the 38.89 high from yesterday and draw it through the pre-market high, which I have at 28. So just draw a trend line through there. We'll watch for that, see if we start to get a breakout. But other than that, don't really have anything more to add to LIMN other than this doesn't look like a very good company, and I think this is just going to be a day trade, and then we're never going to look at it again.
Yep, I think you're probably right about that. I did check Know the Float. I shared it on screen there. It had no values or no readings for that. So, okay, really quickly, I've actually gotten this question a few times recently, so I figured I'd just show all of you folks right here, right now. Michael's saying, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Michael. Thanks for joining us here. I just wanted to know what kind of matcha tea you like. So I've talked about this a number of times. So really quickly, I'll just go ahead and show you. I like this Republic of Tea brand. They have a ton of really good teas, including hibiscus teas that are excellent for your heart and your vascular system. But I also really enjoy green and black tea. So this is the double green matcha tea that I get. The brand is Republic of Tea. This is not a sponsored segment. I wish they would sponsor me because I love their product. So they better now. But no, this is a product that I actually use every day. I spend my own hard-earned money on this, and I continue to expand my tea selection because they are all just delicious. So if you like that, give that a shot. Again, I've mentioned it a few times, but I've been asked more times than I thought I'd be asked. So there you go. Okay. And we will cover Circle here too. I know that's the big IPO that everyone's waiting for. We'll get to there. Let's get through the movers here first, and then we can go to that. I added that to the list just to remind me. Now, the second one here on the list, this is the Warrior Princess. We've traded this one before. She's back. She's got the garb all shined up, and the sword is sharpened. ZENA Tech shares are trading higher after the company announced a drone-as-a-service program aimed at targeting strategic partnerships with U.S. defense and government agencies. We've talked a lot about some of the drone angle. We talked about the Ukrainian strike in Russia that utilized drones. We've talked about anti-drone technology. We've talked a lot about Androl and all of the other stuff that's applied to this. This is clearly a theme. Here you go. ZENA's popping on this now. We were about $3 yesterday. We popped as high as $5.40 here earlier or thereabouts. We've come back in, and so far we're holding the VWAP. Quick look around the horn here. 7.82% of the float shorted here and 2.89 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 1.6 million shares per day. We've traded 19.5 million here. Floats 12.1. What do you think here? ZENA the Warrior Princess.
So first off, I have to ask, is this on our drone watch list?
I believe that this is. Let me check that for you, but I believe it is.
Okay. Second, we've been dealing with software as a service for so long now that we've abbreviated to SaaS.
It is on there. Yes.
Excellent. So now I think we're going to start to see the emergence of DaaS, DaaS. So that is, they were saying drone as a service. So get ready to see a lot of that, in my opinion. This has 12.1 million shares in the float. Company does need cash. Looking at the chart here, we have traded this before, as you said. Still got the levels out, and they have been absolutely phenomenal this morning. First level that we broke through on this news was at 340. We took that all the way up and found resistance up at the 465 level. We did have a higher print all the way up to 5, but we didn't get any close above that level, and that was the case, for a while after this initial move until 8:30 when we finally did get that move through it and started trading above it, even getting as high as 545. Now we have come back and we are trading right at about that 465 level again. So this is shaping up to be a pretty interesting support area. But when I look at the MACD and seeing how it looks like this is about to cross to the downside, I think this may end up coming in. So We'll have to wait and see what we end up getting. I think somewhere between $3.90 and $4 is going to be the support area if we do end up coming back in and going lower. But if we can hold right about here at about the 465 to 470 area, we still have a good shot at pushing back up into fives, maybe even higher.
Okay. Real good stuff there on ZENA. It is moving some of the other drones. By the way, whoever asked about Gift earlier, I'm going to do an audible here. Gift is literally popping right now. Huge volume right here. They just took out the high multiple times here. It looks like I've got 268 as the high print. This is Giftify. Shares are trading higher after the company announced the acquisition of XIII in an all-stock transaction. So apologize. Sorry?
ZENA.
Did ZENA just start moving too?
Yeah. Also, we can draw.
It's not fair. That's not fair. You can't go back and you can't do this to me. That's no. That's not fair.
Okay. Well, then, folks, I'm sorry. We'll have to wait to make money.
I'm just kidding, man.
No, do a topside trend line with these wicks. It's the rising trend line, because if we are going to get this upside and we are going to break over the 540, 545 area, I'd like to know where this ends up going, and I think we could end up hitting the top of that trend line. So. From the high of the 805 print to through the high of the 835 print, and just keep that trend line going. I think that's what I'd be watching for next. Another test of that trend line beyond 540.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Let me draw that. And you know what? What a difference just a minute makes. I'm glad you pulled me off of that, because look what Gift did. It completely sold that huge move. This is actually round tripping now on Gift. Vicious candle on Gift. Another reason why trading in the pre-market, not my favorite thing, to be quite honest with you. Really not my favorite thing. And you're seeing it here.
It looks like Gift giveth and taketh.
Giveth and taketh. I've actually never even looked at this stock. Giftify. How many Fi's are there? Shopify, Spotify, Giftify. I feel like they're just creating one. Let me just do a quick look around the horn here so we can be up to speed on this one. 0.34% of the float shorted here. That comes on 3.74 days to cover, but that's on 66,000 shares of volume. This candle that you're seeing, this action here that you're seeing, it's only on 224,000 shares of volume. Let's see what happens on Gift when the volume pours in here from the regular session. Pre-market session, always muted volumes. Let's see what happens when this actually opens up. Float 23.8 million on the stock. Okay. God, that is a nasty candle. That is absolutely nasty. Okay, just finishing up with the drones. If anyone wants the drone watch list, we can give it to you. Of course, I know we've talked a lot about Ondas recently. This is my drone play. We're getting another move higher here on the back of all this stuff. That's great. Looking to sell some more here today. My next target's going to be 2. And then 3, and then 5, and then 10. So there it is. All right. Next here on the list, we were done with ZENA, right? We drew that trend line. We're done now with ZENA.
Yeah. I mean, it did have a nice 5 print just a moment ago, and it could still keep going. But just folks, keep that one on your radar, and we'll move on to the other movers.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll definitely take a look at this one throughout the course of the day. Okay, MCTR. Unbelievable. Had the huge move here on Tuesday. We had a higher move, and we attempted to go at one of those trend lines and didn't quite get there. And boy, the breakdown was ferocious. I got to think that the breakdown here, there was really no buying volume in here, right? It was these buyers yesterday were probably getting puked out on the backside of the move, at least those that were there for the short-term move. We did trade higher in the after hours. We did pop again here in the pre-market, but that was early in the pre-market. We've already started selling here. Stocks up 33.7% from yesterday. Again, as a reminder on some of the stats here, 0.1% of the float short, really nothing. And that's as of the last read from May 27th. So here it is, June 5th. That could have definitely climbed from here, but of our last report, there were only 4.2 thousand shares held short here. That's 1 day to cover. That's on an average of 1 million. Today, we've traded just shy of 2 million, floats 4 million. What do you think here on MCTR?
Well, I think if we lose 20, that I don't want to see this until maybe about $14, and then I'll take another look at it, maybe even consider a bounce play. But it looks like there's some really stiff resistance somewhere between $30 and $31. So let's just say draw a line at 31, and you can look to the left. In the pre-market yesterday, that was about where the low was. And then when we took that out in a regular session, that just led to even further bleeding. It just absolutely got cut in half. Now in the pre-market, guess where we ran up to and found resistance? 31. So I'm thinking that we're going to want to keep an eye on that 31.30 handle in case we do get some more upside and it recaptures VWAP and things are looking good. But to the downside, if we do lose 20, I don't think I'd want to jump into this until we start bottoming, which could happen around the low 14 area.
Yeah. And then furthermore, I think if you lose this 14 area, all bets are off for the move lower. DRKL here. Hi there. How do I get the drone list? I just put the list of those tickers here in the chat. I'm sorry about the format. I can't do much when posting through Restream, but that's what we have here. These watch lists, by the way, these are working watch lists. So these will sometimes change depending on if we add or subtract from that. But there you go. That watch list is in the chat. Yeah.
It's important to also acknowledge that these are not like pure drone plays, but some of them are like part suppliers or software suppliers. So they have an angle in the drone space, but they don't specifically make drones themselves, but a lot of them do. So just keep that in mind. This is all having to tie in with the whole drone theme, whether it be thermal management, software, components, doesn't matter. This is what we're watching for that particular drone theme.
Okay. All right. And again, good stuff there on MCTR. Thank you, producer, for helping. Awesome. Jay, this is a really good thing. And you're tying this to Ondas, but really this is kind of a general thing here. The hardest thing is letting your big winners run. I struggle with this all the time. So do I, Jay. No position here. I do have a position. Here's how I've been dealing with this. When I watched the last move from 60 cents to $3 and then back down to 70 cents, was I pissed? Yeah, I was pissed. And I said to myself, well, I really don't think it's going to get lower than this because it is an actual company, despite not, hitting the lights out or whatever, shooting the lights out or whatever. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to prepare myself for the next time that it does this, and I'm just going to add. And I added stock. I lowered my cost basis because we were adding stock at a 70-cent handle. I mean, oh my God. Lowered my cost basis, and I said, when that run happens again, and I'm confident that it will, I'm going to sell into it a lot earlier than I did. And I've been telling you folks on the way up here, as soon as we got above $1, it was time to start looking at profit taking. I've made 2 sales on this position. I have thousands of shares left. I'm going to sell it on the way up. I don't know where the top is, Jay. So I don't know where the spot is to sell. I'm just going to keep selling as it goes up. And eventually, when I get down to 1,000 shares, I'm probably going to hold that for the long term and see what happens. If it goes to 100 or it does something crazy, at least I'll have some exposure. I agree with you. It is the hardest thing. The piece of advice that I have for people, scale out. Sell in partial batches. That's the way to do it. That's what I'm doing. It's worked for me. Okay. Looks like we've got something popping here literally as we speak. SCNI, Sinai Immunotherapeutics. Stock is absolutely ripping right now. Receives Italian government clearance under the Golden Power regulation for potential acquisition of Princell. Oh, you know what? This reminds me. Pete had an amazing comment earlier, and I skipped over it and then got sidetracked. Sorry, Pete. It was not the Donald Trump comment that you made. That's not the good one. Here we go. So we talked about one of these catalysts here. I think it was for, what stock was this for? ZENA?
Which one?
Yes. So it was for ZENA. That PR that we read to you, Pete here pulled out a quote here, or a piece of that quote, aimed at targeting, i.e. a fluff release. So if we go back to ZENA here, and I'm sorry, 13, I asked you if we were done with ZENA and then moved on. We weren't. I needed to say something here. ZENA Tech shares are trading higher after the company announced a drone as a service program aimed at targeting strategic partnerships. So they're not done yet. They're aimed at targeting them. So could be a fluffy release. I do kind of like to break down some of these comments that we see out of PRs just so people can become more adept at reading them. Pete, I think you're right here. This one might be a little bit fluffy, if you will.
It's just an announcement that they have drone as a service. Aimed at targeting. That's that's not the important part. It's the drone as a service part that's important. So now this company's saying, hey, we are open for business. Come check us out. Come, let's make some deals. That's all it's really saying. But it's a speculation that there's going to be some future revenues why it's moving like it is. But yeah, that whole aimed at targeting strategic partnerships with U.S. Defense and government agencies, that's not the important part. Absolutely not.
Okay. Here's your news here for SCNI, which is literally, this thing's up 157% right now. Sinai Immunotherapeutics receives Italian government clearance to potentially acquire Princell. I was trying to figure out what Princell is here. I'm trying to do it live, so yeah, it is what it is.
It's probably just some other biotech, but
yeah, regulatory clearance, significant step forward in our planned acquisition of Princell. With this approval addressing a key regulatory requirement, it does not signify the completion of the transaction.
So Princell's lead candidate, PC-111, is a fully human monoclonal antibody targeting the FAS-FASL pathway, currently in development for treating severe dermatological conditions such as pemphigus, Stevens-Jones syndrome, toxic epidermal necrolysis. Anyway,
I love your effort, dude. I love
tongue twisters aside, it's a dermatology company.
Okay. And quick look around the horn here. 0.15% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 13,000 shares. Folks, 13,000. What? You folks could go buy 13,000 shares of this company here. Just insanely small volume here. Float of this might be the smallest float we've seen in a long time. 283,000 shares. I'm going to round up to 284,000. This is insane. 284,000 shares in the float. The stock's traded 4.26 million. This thing's up 140%. What do you think, 13?
I think there could be a offering coming. I think there could be one. I look at the financials. They have less than 2 million in the bank. They lost 7 million last quarter, and looks like they just had Q1 results at the end of May, in which they had revenue of 586,000. I'm just going to say it. I don't think they have enough money to keep going unless they do some capital raise. So I'd be getting ready for that.
Yeah, and you're not alone. We're saying the same thing. Offering incoming here. SCNI, huge rip here so far. Okay. We got it's 9:12, so we got 28 minutes here. Did you have anything else crazy off the movers list that you wanted to cover?
I only saw that TGL is still getting some movement. That's one of those treasury strategy companies, and then also Planet Labs, one of my space plays that had earnings yesterday. That's up higher today.
Do you have any outlook on Planet Labs? Because the TGL is a great segue to what I want to do next.
We don't have to get into this. I mean, it looks like it's kind of double topping in the pre-market. So this may end up going back down, but we can look at this later. Let's get into what I think you want to talk about, which is a watch list of treasury or Bitcoin treasury companies. No. Bam.
Okay. It is time, folks. It is time. Let me do this here real quick. I actually should have had this prepared, but we're under a time crunch this morning, which you folks will understand here pretty soon. Sorry. Okay. Let me share this. First of all, big time shout out to one of our community members here, Day Trader. We talk to him all the time. Actually, him, her, I'm not even sure. Doesn't matter because they're awesome. We talk all the time about this. We had talked yesterday, just kind of throwing it around, that we were going to create some watch lists for these treasury companies. I had a whopper day yesterday. And then at the end of the day, I said, F this, I'm sitting on my couch. And before I knew it, it was hockey time. So I actually blew off a lot of the work that I wanted to do in the afternoon. And I'm sure I'll pay for that later today. Thankfully, Day Trader did this work for us. And I'm going to share this here with you. So, I am a him. Okay. I just wanted to I'm so nervous about screwing stuff up. I just wanted to make sure. Here is the link to Day Trader's tweet. He went ahead and created these watch lists of the Bitcoin treasury and then also the Solana treasury. If you have Thinkorswim, all you have to do is click on these links and you can actually import this watch list into your Thinkorswim broker. If you have Benzinga Pro, if you can open this list somehow or just simply copy the tickers here, and you paste the tickers into your watch list, it will add them all. I can throw them here in the chat because I've gone ahead in Pro and created these watch lists for myself already. So go ahead. He's done this for us. I'm going to keep adding to this. So when we break down these movers in the morning and we come across new stocks that are now adding Bitcoin to the treasury in some shape or another, I'm going to start adding them to the list. I hope to have the same list. If I ever miss any or something like that, it's great that you folks are also doing this so we can kind of check each other. And then finally, again, I just want to thank Day Trader here. Also, if you're not watching the Benzinga YouTube or Twitch pre-market and pre-market open, what are you even doing with your life? I don't know, Day Trader. I've been trying to figure out what the people that aren't watching this are doing. But I really, all jokes aside, I really do appreciate you trying to promote what we're doing here. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me that you did this. You said that you were going to do this. You stuck to your word. I'm going to share it here with the group. Smash up the like for our community here, which continues to just outperform every other community out there.
Thank you very much, Day Trader, for providing this. And it also looks like Master had put together a list as well. I don't know if he's has a way to get that out to you, but there is. If we could get that over to there we go.
Here we go. Yeah, so awesome, Master. This is great. Thank you for doing this. This is, again, this goes back to how awesome our community is. It wasn't just one person; it was multiple that did the same thing. Master, this is what I would say. You can shoot me an email. It can be a plain text email. It doesn't have to have any CSV attached to it, but if you want to do that, you can do that too. Send me this. Let me go ahead and throw my email here in the chat. I will combine it to the list that Day Trader made. I'm sure there's a ton of overlap on there. To
answer the question, yes, it does. Yeah. It does make sense to not include crypto mining. I like just the pure crypto treasury. I think when it comes to crypto mining, there's a whole leverage issue with that. Massive amounts of power consumed, lots of mining machines. There's going to be some pretty big overhead. So just a treasury, I like that way better. I think that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Agreed. Catherine saying now how do you do that with TOS? If you go to the tweet, which I sent out in the chat there, the actual tweet itself, Day Trader made those watch list links. And so if you just click on the link, you should be able to import that to TOS. I believe it detects TOS and opens it and then creates a new watch list there. Mazur, I can manually add your stocks to mine. Okay. Actually, there is another great show, but I'm obsessed with this one. There's many great ones. I'm just kidding now. I'm just kidding there. Okay. Oh yeah, and that's right. I noticed this too. I actually corrected this on my list. Let me actually make sure I did that here. Drones. Let's go to BTC Treasury. Yes, XYZ. So the old Square, I think it's marked as SQ in that list. It's actually now ticker XYZ. Square, block, whatever you call it. That is the actual ticker there. Okay, we did all of the movers. We did the watch list stuff. We're pretty much caught up here. Let's go to the chart tool and start hammering. We got 13 minutes. Let's start hammering out the other stocks that folks wanted to take a look at. Looking at my list here, we had MCTR, that's done. APLD, Cores, Uber, HIMS, those still have to go. ZENA and Gift are done. And then Circle, this is where we should go. Circle and then SoundHound. Okay,
and then
what's that?
And then CoreWeave.
And then CoreWeave. Okay. So Circle, you guys were asking, and we don't really have a chart for this, right? Because it hasn't IPO'd yet. Yeah, we're just going to have the ghost chart here. All right. Circle. And let me see. Do we actually have stats on this? Circle Internet Group is a financial technology firm engaged in digital currencies and public blockchains for payments, commerce, and financial applications. The company is the issuer of USD coins, USDC, the stable coin.
Yep.
So what do you think, 13? What are your thoughts? First of all, the first question I have is, are you going to trade this here today?
I don't have the best luck with IPOs. I haven't spent enough time learning the best way to trade them. So it's just one of those things. I'll just wait and see if there's a setup that that appears. That's how I would usually approach it. Is just a wait and see, and if it shows me something, I'll try it then. But this we've discussed IPOs before about how they could go they could sink out of out of their IPO. They could rally and then really sink. I just would, I'll just sit on the sidelines. I'm perfectly happy watching it.
Okay. First of all, Fairchild, thank you for toss. I'm just going to leave this up here. For toss, you go to the open shared item. I believe that's in the upper right, right? Yes, if you click on the setup button in the upper right corner of your toss platform, the second item in that menu is open shared item, and you can put that hyperlink in there. Thank you, Fairchild, for bringing that up. Appreciate the assist there. The big thing here for Circle, so I know the question really has been, well, what do you think? What do you think? Well, first of all, it's tough for me to tell you what I think about the stock when I have no price action, and it's not like a hugely followed IPO for me. What I will say though is that doesn't this really kind of lend more credibility to stablecoin?
Probably.
Like that, right? That to me seems like the big takeaway here right off the bat. The company that is the issuer of the stablecoin is now IPOing. How this IPO does is going to tell us quite a bit. We had mentioned here that it priced 24 to 26. I think Brandy or Kath, who was that earlier that mentioned that it settled at, I think, 31 or something like that. So to me, this just really kind of speaks to the entire thesis that crypto is not just some flash in the pan Beanie Baby hype thing. It is here to stay. They're going to keep building different utility off the different chains and all of that. More companies are IPOing about this. This just kind of brings some what's the right word? Credence? No, that's not the right word. It to me, it really kind of signifies that this stuff is here to stay. This stuff is important.
Yeah. I guess when this IPOs, I'd probably just keep an eye on some of the other crypto names, just to see what they do. If this rises, the other crypto names might rise because, I don't know a whole lot about stablecoin, but my understanding is that
Neither do I. That's my problem here. I don't ever own stablecoin.
They kind of act as a bridge between, fiat and crypto. So, maybe coin goes wild with it if this one goes wild. I don't know. So that just would be keeping an eye on the other crypto names, the really established ones, not necessarily the miners, but some of the other ones that are just holding it. See what we get out of this.
Here we go. Here's some stuff for you. This comes from this website here comes from Adam Mitchell. And it comes from a website called the Trading Calendar. This offering comes at a critical inflection point with traditional financial institutions warming to blockchain-based solutions and regulatory developments bringing more clarity to the stablecoin market. Circle's decision to go public could usher in a new chapter for how investors engage with digital assets. By positioning itself at the intersection of fintech, compliance, and a decentralized infrastructure, Circle is inviting public investors to share in what it sees as the future of money. And that kind of goes to what I was just saying here. Bitcoin is here to stay. It's not going away. And this is just another step there. Pete, love this. If it's anything like CoreWeave, it's going to go up today and have kind of a wild day, sell off for 2 weeks, and then absolutely rage. So Pete, now that you're saying this here, I think this is one of the things that I'm going to look for.
I'm gonna. What Anna's saying, I'd like to learn more about. If that's how this works, I'd really like to learn more about how that would keep the world pegged to the U.S. dollar. That would be really helpful information for me. So if there's a way I can find out more about that and how stablecoins can keep the world pegged to the U.S. dollar, I think that's something I'd really like to learn about. So anything that you can offer in terms of learning about stablecoin, that'd be great.
I love this too. Von Rivera on the other side here. Crypto is another bubble that will bring down the market. I'll take the other side of that, but it's these varying opinions that make a market. Day trader, this is where institutional money converted USD to USDC. The fiat is minted to crypto US dollars. Okay. Circle is the main company that does the USDC conversion that is used for Solana and other transactions. And this does help keep USD dominant. That is okay. Wow. Awesome.
And I thought we already kind of had a crypto bubble that burst already. Remember when Bitcoin went back down to like, what was it, 20 something thousand?
17, I thought.
Yeah, I thought that because we there was a ton of coins and they all cratered. So I thought we already had a bubble. Maybe we're setting up for bubble 2.0, but I'm pretty sure we had a bubble burst on crypto already.
Okay. The next thing that we have to do there is we have to see what the price action is like. We're not going to be. What happened here? Oh, I broke it because of Circle. We have to see what the price action is like. So we'll wait for it to open. I'm not sure if it's even going to open while we're on this. While we're on the show here. Eric mentioning the Genius Act, or the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act of 2005, is a proposed U.S. federal law aimed at regulating stablecoins. Okay. I made 12K on SHIB once, so anything is possible. Lion reminding us that our real bubble here is the actual debt. Okay.
Ramen. Here's the thing. That could actually create enough volatility to set up a lot of really good trades in rare earth. I mean, if the thing is that we're expecting there to be something good out of this, so maybe rare earths aren't going to be, so sought after if some kind of deal is made. But I don't know, sought after is not the right way of saying it. It might be, a leverage issue. But if the phone call is good, that might get reduced. If it's bad, as you're putting it, it could exacerbate rare earths. So I think this phone call could create some volatility that will present some trade opportunities.
Okay. Good stuff there. I love that there's both sides of this.
Yeah.
Pete here, not a crypto fan, but I love how you're leaving the door open here, Pete. If and when it can fully be used as a true currency in all aspects of daily life, I'll look into it. Jack Dorsey, I believe, posted a receipt from some conference that he was at where he bought a bunch of food or coffee or whatever with crypto. And the receipt had the amount paid in sats, which I thought was rather interesting. Okay.
Sergeant Sexy, it might. I don't know why it's got that big of an increase in short interest. I don't know if there was like a reverse split or something that's throwing that off. We can take a look at it though.
LAES is the ticker Sergeant Sexy is talking about.
Yeah, another one of our drone plays saying that the short interest is super high. I don't have that. It might be a just misprint on your broker or whatever you're seeing that, but I don't see that high short interest.
Yeah, and then also I think I saw something scroll by here. I love how here, Josh, you can add Silo to the Bitcoin holdings. So Silo, they did that was treasury, right? That was what the news was. This wasn't a mining thing, because what I'm going to do here, this is a 60 cent. Oh, wait, did they do this today? Thank you, Josh. Silo Pharma Board of Directors approved purchases Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. So we're going to click on watch and we're going to add this to BTC Treasury. Done. Josh, big shout out. Thank you very much. That was news fresh as of today. So really good timing there. I knew I saw something go by there. Okay. 3 minutes till we open. Let's just run through some more of these that we just took care of. Circle here. APLD, that'll be the next one here. This is Applied Digital. This has been an absolute monster recently. Key level here today, 15. We moved through 15. You might have some more upside juice here on APLD. Let me go back to the daily chart so we can take a look at what some of those other levels are like. Oh, what happened here with all that? There we go. Okay, so we're pretty much we're at the top end of a consolidation area. 13, what do you have here for the next resistance? 20? Am I crazy?
Let me take a look here. Got 2 minutes. I mean, to me, where are we at right now? To me, it looks like 16 could be the next resistance area.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Right in here.
Yeah, and then I'd say 20 after that.
Yeah, 16, 20 going to be your next key levels here, APLD. Let's see where this came from. I wouldn't really want this to lose 13 or 10, frankly. So those would be some of your downside levels there.
Yeah, certainly, Steve, certainly. Mama Bear saying KWM is popping. This has been moving this week as well.
Okay. That's one of the movers there. KWM is also on that Bitcoin treasury list that Day Trader put together for us.
Izzy is saying that NBIS will rocket. That's moving up to 4150. There's a large wall of sellers at 4150 that's looking to get taken out. Keep an eye on that level.
Okay, I wasn't. That's man. What on earth? I'm going to try refreshing Pro here real quick because I'm not sure why I'm getting.
You guys are talking about coin. Look, we can get into that, but coin, that if it's true that there are like governments and institutions using coin to hold their facilitate their crypto holdings, coin's going to be just something that's going to continue to do well for a very long time.
Yeah, I like coin long term.
All right, we are 25 seconds to open.
All right, I'm just going to go over to the main. Sorry we couldn't go through all of that here. I'm sure we'll check in on these tickers here. Hims, Sound, and Cores and Uber were the ones we didn't get to. Let's see where Uber is right before we open. Izzy, we trading this one here today on this pullback?
SCNI, the one we were just talking about earlier, that's still holding above VWAP.
Hoth is back here today.
Oh, I thought it smelled bad on the outside.
Yeah, it did. Okay. PL popping here. Ondas pull right off the open. That pre-market action getting pulled here. A lot of people taking gains on Ondas, which I understand. SCNI, this is the one that you were just mentioning. Is this going for new highs? Okay. All right. Now that we got through all of that, I just wanted to let you know today we are actually moving to an ETF virtual event at 10 a.m. So we only got a half an hour left here, which is why I wanted to cover so much of that stuff early on. So sorry about that. Give you some more information on that here in a sec. But let's see what we can get done in the meantime.
NBIS popped out of the gate here, went right to the pre-market high of 42.33.
Oh my God, yeah, it did.
Backed off that. Looking like this is going to push through. There it is. All right. That one's taken off. Great job.
Who called this one?
Izzy.
Yeah. Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon's pulling here. How about Uber? Let me put Uber up real quick on a different screen. NBIS continuing here. Uber, that dip got bought, folks. That dip we were just looking at here in the pre-market bought right out of the open. Did you add here, Izzy? Right out of the open, that Uber dip got bought. We'll see where that goes. Here's your Amazon. This is actually pulling out of the open. Might be setting up for a potential buy here. Maybe 208. Amazon.
LIMN. This thing heading down. Looks like 18 is the next support. SCNI. This thing falling. MCTR kind of doing the same thing. This just lost 20.
God, there's so much happening.
Yeah.
UAMI is ripping. Actually, this kind of turned around here. Uber continuing to trade higher off that pre-market dip. Izzy, you've got me looking at this now. Let's go. NBIS continuing. Looks like 44 coming here.
TQQQ is tanking. Don't know if we're going to see a run here in SQQQ, but the high we made in the pre-market was 22.62.
Look at this move on NBIS right out of the open here.
Oh, it's fantastic. Let's see where this goes. Maybe I can find the level here that's coming up next. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 48. The high from February is also on the table. That was $50.87. I think we could certainly see some of those levels today.
Folks, the trade desk. Lion, how good you feeling about that? The trade desk is working here. That trade is working. I'd love for that to really kind of rip here. Tesla is still selling off a little bit here. Oh, gosh, my options are moving quickly. Here's your Tesla chart. 319. That's for you, 13.
Thank you. MCTR absolutely beelining for that $14 level.
Alish is asking, come on, how can I buy Circle? It needs to open first, and then you need to have a brokerage account that you can purchase it in.
LIMN, after initially selling off here, reversed and is now halted to the upside.
And that's actually about to go through VWAP. 2355 is the VWAP. 2230 is the price.
MODV. It looks like this was a mover from yesterday.
It was.
This just hit a high of 325. Hell yeah, Sizzy. Well done.
Yeah, nice job there on that NBIS trade. Good calls on all of that too. $44, your high print there, NBIS.
Yep, to the dot. MCTR still has fallen. ZENA pulling back a little bit, still above VWAP, but it's getting walked down by some seller. These things are pulling now.
I'm putting in a stink bid on my rocket calls position for next March.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be right about CoreWeave or not, but I had made a call yesterday that's so far shaping up like it could end up being the top yesterday.
Yeah. So you want to cover that? I don't need to steal your thunder.
I just made a call because it just looked really super extended, and the candle that we got yesterday was a looking at it now, it does. Well, I guess it is. It's a hanging man candle that can be indicative of a reversal. So need to start trading underneath, in my opinion, 150. Then I'll lean into the bearishness. But we haven't gotten down that far yet.
Matthew mentioning here, I think bids are open on Circle already. Robinhood gave me the option to bid on it. So some of your brokers will allow you to participate in IPOs. I wonder if this is what you're referring to. I just pulled it up here in Thinkorswim, and I have no ability to place a order on it yet. And I have no chart for it either. FYI. They said, and who said that? Who's they? And Gary is calling Mullen. First of all, this CoreWeave, if this is, I had asked yesterday, where's the short on this? And then you answered. You thought about it and then answered in the happy hour show. Here you go. Here's the Fibonacci trend-based extension that we drew. That 156. If that ends up being the top area, man, is that going to be a good call?
Just looked really extended.
Yeah, it sure does, dude.
And the candle was the other, little piece of that puzzle. And I was like, it's probably going to be right about here. So we'll see if that's correct.
Here's Mullen. This is halted to the upside. Looks like my halt signal's a little bit behind. Hood, you guys are talking about Hood. Is that marching higher on that double top breakout? Indeed it is. Here's what I'm talking about on the daily chart. We continue to move higher here on Hood. That 67 break sent it higher.
Trout Bum is saying MODV moving up. Yeah, it's certainly getting going here. 325 is the current high. Waiting to see if it can break that and go higher. Kind of hanging out here around the 315 at the moment. Smoke Tuna mentioning BW, saying it's got volume.
Is that BW or BBW?
Just BW. That's what he posted there.
You missed the story on Build-A-Bear here, huh?
I guess I did. I don't know what that was about, but yes, I did not.
Well, I'm glad, 13. What that was about is that Build-A-Bear has outperformed NVIDIA, Apple, Google, and Microsoft over the past 5 years. I bet you didn't have that one on your bingo card either. Nope. By the way, a BW is Babcock and Wilcox. This is spiking here.
MCTR now halted to the downside. 1631 is the last print. I think we are getting close to where LIMN should be on halting. It shouldn't be too long now. And that was reversing as it halted. So I'd be looking at a break over 25.25 at this point. That seems to be, okay, here we are unhalted and we're going higher. So 25.25 is where I'd be thinking that I might find some resistance. But if we can break through that, then $29 is $28 and $29 would be the next levels I'd be watching for.
Okay. Everyone loves expensive teddy bears. Actually, we had a number of folks here in the chat that were like, "Yeah." There was one lady here who said she has 5 daughters and they all like them.
LIMN approaching 25.25 and almost there. Oh, this is fantastic. What did we get up to here before it started pulling? 24.88. All right.
Oh God, my
This is still strong up in there. NBIS hit 45.19, getting a little bit of a pull off that level. MODV went as high as 333, and that pulled back, so putting up a series of upper shadows here. And this might be one to be careful with if it continues to make these types of candles.
Mom plus 5. I absolutely should have remembered your handle when I was talking about it. I described it as a mom that had 5 daughters, and the handle's mom plus 5. Ryan, get it together. Yeah, I got to be 2% better every day. Okay.
Broadcom going negative. That was expected.
We actually covered this quite a bit. Yeah. Yep. Well, yesterday, but even before that, I think it was Jay or someone else, maybe a couple of people were talking about the run into earnings and how worrisome that is. Now, it's not really down a whole lot here. Broadcom down just over 0.5%.
ZENA, as mentioned by Crow, this is going up here, approaching the pre-market high, I-45.
Izzy, appreciate you. I'm going to share this with the group here. I had asked Izzy who's they, saying that NBIS is better than CoreWeave. Here's the tweet. New analyst rating with an $84 price target. Stock is soaring on news in the pre-market. Okay, he's just talking about the price action there. Let me see. Was that in the news feed here? This is some analyst I don't recognize. Yes. Aerite initiates CoreWeave and Nebius with preference for Nebius.
All right.
$130 price target on CoreWeave, 84 on Nebius.
We got ZENA up to 539. I had a level of 540 here. So let's see if we can break that or if it's just going to be resistance. This is about where the pre-market high was, 545. So we do need to break through this on its way to 6.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jay Rice mentioning Lulu, bar also high into earnings. I think Lulu's going to go lower after the print.
Me too. Me too. I think so too. I don't have a position on that, but I am thinking about that. That's why I wanted to ask Anne-Marie about that as well. I would agree with that. Edwin here. Hi, Ryan. Can you show your screener settings? Absolutely, I can. First of all, I know it's difficult to see, so they are always printed at the top here in this blue bar. But if you want to see them, so it's a little bit easier, let me actually put this on the custom value, and I'll resize this for you. Here you go. And let me actually zoom in here. I can explain it real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I have a volume as one of my filters. This is just simply a liquidity filter. Minimum 600,000 shares have to be traded in order for me to try to execute a short-term trade on it. I'm also a long bias trader, so I'm looking for things that are trading up. It doesn't mean they have to be up on the day, but they have to start trading up. So I use the change percent 1 minute over the last 1 minute as 0.2. So again, what's happening here is that the stock price has to start curling up to the top and have enough volume. And then the crux of this scan is intraday relative volume. It's RVOL 5M30D, and this is only returning stocks that are trading at 300% the average volume in that 5-minute window. So it doesn't matter if you look at this at the open or at lunchtime or at the close, it's always going to be comparing apples to apples. I'm going to leave this up for a couple more seconds, and I'm going to have to minimize it so I can actually use it. But there you go, Edwin.
Jay Rice, one of the things we were observing with Lulu is that they don't typically do sales. And right now, and I think this is an admission, they have a sale going on called the We Made Too Much sale. Yeah.
And this is for real. He's not kidding.
I think this is hilarious. Here goes ZENA. We just busted through 540, hit that pre-market high, got a little pullback off that. Don't know if that's going to be it, if we're going to double top here or not. But if we do hold above 5, there might be another attempt to push through that 545 and go on to 6. But yes, so they have a sale going on right now. Things are pretty heavily discounted. They almost never have sales, and I think that they're trying to be cute with "We Made Too Much" sale. I think that's an admission. They have massive amounts of inventory that they're trying to unload. And I think the expectation is that they're trying to front run the sales for the next quarter because they're seeing some weakness that could lead to a bad report. So I think that's what we're seeing here with this Lulu being on sale. Mom plus 5 is saying, I always buy Lulu on sales when they have sales.
Yeah. So what we were talking yesterday regarding the sales is that for the longest time, Lululemon didn't advertise that they have sales. You literally had to check the website. That was actually kind of a smart move. And they wouldn't even like have a category. It would just be the price would be crossed out and there would be a cheaper price. Mom plus 5. I also, the only Lululemon I bought was when it went on sale. I have never to this day, I only have 3 pairs of pants, but I've never to this day paid full price for a pair of Lululemon pants. They're amazing and I love them. They're my favorite pants that I have, but I buy them on sale too. The interesting note as far as the stock goes is that they're really kind of like pushing and advertising this, which is, as 13 was mentioning, a big departure from what they did in the past. And on top of that, we made too much. You know what it actually is, 13. They ordered too much when they tried to get ahead of the tariffs and they increased their inventory. And now they're trying to liquidate that inventory before they have to, or they're going to have to report inventory numbers here. So I'm not sure which way it goes. My gut says it probably goes down. Buy Lululemon only when it's on sale.
Look like NBIS is quite finished yet, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. NBIS call of the day so far, indeed. One of the other things that we had talked about regarding Lululemon was that competition for these types of products is continuing to grow. Fabletics was mentioned yesterday. I dispute that because I own Fabletics and it's not nearly as good, but it's still the same type of clothing, so it's accurate. Viore, which I've never tried, but I've heard really great things about. Aloe, I think there was another one. There's a lot more competition for these Lululemon type products, and we suspect we might see some of that in the earnings report here today.
Getting asked about Tesla, we did actually finally open beneath 325. That was my bottom side level here for this range we've been in since middle of May. So now we're trading beneath 325. And I think yesterday, Ryan, we had discussed in Happy Hour about some levels we were looking at. And one of those levels that I like is 309. I think somebody else in the chat had 310. You had 311 as a fib level, right?
Yes.
Okay, so basically down in that area is where we're looking at the next support. So 309, 311, that range could be where we find support today.
And here you go. Here's a visual look at that. The 311 line that you were referencing there is pretty much right here on the 100-day. The 200-day only slightly beneath that at 304.
So there you go. All right, what else is moving here? ZENA, here we go. Making its way up to 6. Still grinding away. 572 is a high.
I'm seeing Hood puts get bought into this pullback on Hood. By the way, Ondas pulled right out of the gate. Went to the 200 and kept pulling here, holding right here at 164. Given the run that we've had here on Ondas, I'm not surprised that folks are taking profit. Also, one thing to note here, if we look at the move, we had a big green day, then we had a red candle, then a big green candle. Now we're getting a red candle. Hey, if we go back to the last time this thing did that, big green candle, red candle, big green candle, red candle, likes to go back and forth here, not freaking out over the move down here. Should have been selling before this anyway, to be honest, booking gains, but pulling right here out of the open. Here's ZENA, did break the high.
SQQQs, this is breaking above the pre-market high, and it's breaching the highs, not the high of the day yesterday, but after it came off that high at the regular session and tried to recapture. This is the level it tried to recapture, and we're above it now. So SQQQ, looks like we're seeing some pretty good selling here in the market. Buy down.
Yeah, SPY's down here 0.2. S&P futures here down 0.3. Ondas seems to be holding here at 160.
MCTR halted to the downside again. Here we are at the $14 area. So if we come out of this halt and start printing lower, man, this is going to be ugly. I think this could end up going underneath 10. SCNI, this thing from this morning, this is just ugly. After hitting 690, this has just absolutely gone south. Don't know where the support would kick in, but my guess would be maybe around 340.
Okay. 380, maybe. Babcock and Wilcox. So that's tough to say. Anyway, this came back into its VWAP and held there. This might be turning around here. Planet Labs, this had earnings. This is a little bit of a gap and go here. How about MDB? That was another one. Okay, so we didn't really gap and go here. Huge move. MDB still up 15.4%. And you know what? I bet this is profit taking here. I think that this traded above the options predicted move. Yes, 11.9% was what the options were predicting. This thing, I think at one point was like 17% higher, still holding higher here by 15%. Would be unsurprised to see people taking profit after the earnings pop from yesterday. Yeah, Mullen halt to the downside.
Yeah, GB slice. I think that's what I've got marked off to. I like that at 309, 308 area. But here's the thing. I may have picked that up from an even earlier level. Let me just look here because we do have price action that goes back. Yeah, that was a bit of a support area back in November of 24. I think prior to that, that was also, back in 22, that was also a resistance and support area. So yeah, 308, 309. I do like that area because it has some good history on it. But that's what I'd be looking at next for support. And if we don't get it there, then maybe even the 200-day SMA I provided afterwards.
RVYL, this is the penny stock du jour, if you will. Looks like this is finding some resistance at 80, but this was a huge move off the 64-cent handle.
It feels like if ZENA does get up to that $6 level, it'll pull off that. Yeah, it's getting to be pretty extended. RSI is already over 75. So I mean, maybe 580 is about as high as it goes for now, but I still think it could make that quick push to 6 and then pull back. So we'll see if we get that. But if not, then it's probably going to come back in anyway.
G Money, did you get those levels for Tesla? We just talked about that a second ago. I'm seeing the comment now. I'm wondering if we already answered that for you.
Mullen halt to the downside.
Wow. I couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah, Izzy is killing it on MBIS. All right. So MCTR still in that halt, probably going to head lower out of it. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a pull in ZENA. If it loses 540, then I think we are going to end up coming back in because that, 545, I should say. Because when we were looking at this, that was the resistance area. Now it's turned into support. So if we lose that support, down we go. Looks like we made a high of 2268 in the SQQQ. What does the TQQQ look like?
Okay.
Not very extended away yet.
Okay. I know that people are going to be bummed. But trust me, it's for a good reason here. Coming up next in 8 minutes. I know, short day for us. I know, 13. I'm sorry. Coming up next, it is the ETF revolution. We're diving into the future of investing with industry leaders, innovators, and disruptors who are reshaping the ETF landscape. If you're serious about staying ahead in the markets, you don't want to miss this. Stick around. It's all happening right here next. You don't have to go anywhere. Stephanie Link is going to be giving the keynote speech at this. And also there's going to be other participants like BlackRock, Bitwise, and Wisdom Tree. So big lineup there. I'm sorry we're having a truncated show here today. We will make it up to you as we always do. And we'll, of course, be back tomorrow. But that's coming up here 8 minutes, maybe 7 minutes now.
So ZENA still hanging in there. Here goes SCNI down to 4. Probably going to lose it here. Looking for support, probably down around 340. Where the 65 EMA is.
I'm gonna if this finds support exactly at your 340 level, I'm gonna be like, yes.
SGMT. This one we traded earlier this week. Just made a new high of a session high of 435. LIMN. This thing is just basically sideways.
MODV might be challenging that intraday high.
Yep, 333.
Tree. Sorry.
There's a bunch of sellers there starting at 330 to 335. We've got to chew through those. About 40, 50,000 shares got to work through. So need the volume for that.
TGL, sad trombone rolling over. UAVS, another one of those drone plays, at least at one point here. That's actually not as strong as I would have hoped.
And, this ETF webinar, do you know if they're going to talk about how we're about to get a huge influx of ETFs into the market?
I believe that that's part of it, but I don't have the content itinerary in front of me, so I can't say for certain.
Might be a very good thing to watch, folks. This could have some real market implications if we have a whole bunch of ETFs suddenly getting put on the exchanges. So
Netflix ripping, by the way. NFLX ripping to the highs. There was somebody, I think, on CNBC this morning about this being a good recessionary play. ZENA,
yep,
did we break highs? Yes, we did.
Yep, 585 now the high. Still trying to push higher to 6. I think that'd be it. If we do hit 6, it's going to come back in. Maybe there's a slightly higher print above 6, but man, this thing is getting pretty extended, and I think it's going to come back in just a moment here. People moving out of CoreWeave to NBS. Hey, I don't doubt you whatsoever. I feel like CoreWeave has gone on its run, and it's going to come back in. Absolutely.
And given the tweet that you sent and I posted, Izzy, that's your catalyst for it. BlackBerry trading higher here.
Is it now?
And getting volume. Nice mention there, Tuna. Yeah, James, if any of you were thinking of shorting CoreWeave, think again. I mean, if you're thinking about shorting CoreWeave, think again. It's working here today. 13, I swear, if your call ends up being the top, let's go, dude.
I even made a little it's kind of a smart ass marker, but I put the a line at the top here. I'll just post it. I'll just post it in chat just for fun.
Perfect.
It's going to be in the happy hour chat, so you'll have to pull it from there. But here we are. 13 thinks this could be the top. We'll see how right or wrong he is. I have the date, June 4th, 2025. So we'll see.
I hope that this is, and I hope that chart lives just.
It'll be hilarious.
Remembers all. It would just be hilarious. Awesome. It'll be awesome.
I can't wait.
Planet Labs continuing its gap and go move post earnings.
Fantastic. Let's
SCNI looks like it slowed down a little bit there at 4.
You know, if anybody's holding on to Planet Labs for continued upside, you know, it's really extended right now. But if this continues, there's a couple of levels that you could consider taking more off the table if it gets there. $6 and then $6.50. That's where I'd be selling. If you haven't already sold now. But this is just a massive move that it's had today.
This is a good question. The whole 9 yards. Where is the happy hour chat? Whole 9 yards. Happy hour. And Sean, I know you were asking this earlier. Sean, this might be helpful for you. Happy Hour has its own dedicated chat channel that actually runs 24/7, in which 13 is a moderator of. You click on the little chat icon in the upper right corner of the platform. Might be very difficult to see my mouse on the screen share, but trust me, it's there, upper right corner. When you click on it, click on Open Side Chat. When it brings the chat room up, there's a host of chat rooms available to you in Pro. If you click the drop down at the top, Happy Hour is one of those. This is the chat that we are referring to. There's always a summary, thanks to 13, based on what was discussed in the Happy Hour show the night before. Really good question. There you go.
Producer's going to make a quick guide to joining Happy Hour, and we'll show it tomorrow.
Oh, producer. I tell you what, our producers are something else here. Between Aaron and Michael, man, they really get it done. They make this fun too. Okay. We got 2 minutes till we're sending you the ETF webinar. Yep, 2 minutes. CoreWeave. I see a lot of red out there. S&P futures here at 594. So I talked about not wanting to lose that 593. Currently at 594 here on the SPY. CoreWeave starting to bounce a little bit. Take care of yourself, day trader. Thanks for all of your communal work, man. We appreciate you. MDB, by the way, curling. So if you think that this is actually going to move on a post-earnings run, getting a little bit of a curl here, right through the VWAP on that.
Oh man, we talked about this yesterday, and I'm so happy to see it did exactly what we were thinking it would do. Just that inverse head and shoulders was the signal, but it's very extended up here. So if you did hold this for the earnings, now that it has an RSI over 81, maybe take some gains. I don't know what your plan is, but I think with this kind of move, you'd want to book some of that profit. That'd be my opinion.
Yeah, that move through 200 here on that inverse head and shoulders, absolutely crispy. Needed the earnings catalyst to do it, but that is awesome.
NBIS, we are approaching the high of the session. We could see higher prints here. 486.75 is the current high. White chocolate mocha would like to look at Rigetti.
Okay, we're going to have to do it quick. Let me see how much time we have. We've got 20 seconds. So break it down here real quick, and then we'll be done for the day here today.
Oh, I was just saying he wants to look at it, but let's see. We're getting. I mean, this is another one of these quantum names, right? So if they're all coming down, it's probably because the focus isn't on them. It's likely on drones and critical minerals, based on the call with Trump and Xi. So don't know if we're going to get a whole lot out of the quantum plays today.
Really good stuff. I'm sorry it was a short day today. I promise we'll make it up to you tomorrow. This is how we keep the show free. It is what it is. 13, thanks for everything here today. Have a great one. We will see you tomorrow. I'm going to send you over to the ETF